to the I Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Davston, and it is wonderful that you're here with me again for our monthly overview, looking at the month ahead for April 2024, and asking the I Ching our favorite question: what should we focus on for the month ahead? All right. Before we get stuck into April and think about what we could do to unlock its magic, let us cast our minds back to March. We had Hexagram 9, the small tames, the small accumulate, which we also had for the previous episode, the last wrap-up week of March, focusing on the small stuff, all the small details coming at us one after the other, profusion of little things that seem to torment us because all these little things take time and energy, and they all seem to be different things, and nothing seems to be connected, and doesn't necessarily feel like we're getting anywhere, but we are. And as we work with every little thing, the dots are connected, right? Those beads on a string are lining up and connecting and completing the circle. So you might have found that March was a month where there wasn't necessarily a feeling of one big thing or one clear energy or one big lump, right? That it was filled with lots and lots of stuff. Lots of things going on, lots of little things all over the place, working to bring our attention to the small and how doing the small well accumulates to the great. And then we had an interesting changing line talking about emerging out of a sea of details, and breathing a sigh of relief and not pushing forward with the next agenda, but just letting us come back into the right flow state, right? Being gentle and emerging out of the detail process into the next phase at peace, calm, without forcing our way out the gate to tackle on the next challenge. Because the second hexagram for last month was 57, the gentle, which is soft, nurturing female energy, gently, the wind gently moving the trees, gently moving the grain of sand, moving that sand in along, grain of sand at a time, affecting massive change by seeming to do that little movement of gentle energy. Very similar energy to the small tames that we also had. So our task was to pay attention to the small things and gently and perseveringly move things along. Not big bang explosions of energy and activity. Doing the little things, moving it with a gentle, supportive, nourishing care. That was what the month was asking us to pay attention to. And if you felt that, or if you witnessed it in your life, if there was something, a story that came up for you of how you worked with those hexagrams and the changing line, it's lovely to have that in our sharing. So please do put a comment. So, without further ado, April 2024. What are we paying attention to? What is the I Ching asking us to focus on? Okay, so our hexagram, our main hexagram for the month is hexagram 41, decrease. Oh, yes, this one. Decrease is about making a conscious choice of letting go of the riffraff, the excess, the unnecessary, decreasing our involvement from things that are no longer good for us. In a way, a little bit of a retreat energy that you might have with hexagram 33, but this is cutting back. Okay, so it's a decrease that we make, a conscious choice we make, and we might also find, depending on how willing we are to making a decrease is made for us. Okay, that might mean that what you're looking for in your bank account or payments or projects or things tend to, subside in a time when we have this hexagram. You might find your energy decreases, your time decreases, your money decreases, your team decreases. Okay, so you might experience being the recipient of decrease coming to bring its blessing. Every hexagram has a blessing. Because what it does is it gets us refocused on what's really important, the core. Or we could work strategically with decrease, and we could consciously look at what are we needing to put down. Very often for most of us, our time and energy is actually the thing, right? Where's our time and our energy go? What is really important for you in April? Think about, as your homework coming out of this session, is what is the number one thing that's the number one thing in your life right now? Write it down on a piece of paper. What is the most pressing thing that you need to achieve? And then look at all the things that are on your dashboard. And I would even suggest you do a bit of a time, I call it a time diet, right? Where you look at where all your time is going. Right? This might be, look at your finances, where your finances are going, because you might have some bleed taking place where you need to kind of stem the flow out. Look at your time, all right? Look at your energy, look at your money, all right? Where are they going? Time especially is the one thing that once it's spent, it really is gone. There's nothing that we can do about it. So I always like to start there because it's the one thing that we can really take control of and make some choices around. So once it's gone, but we can make choices around how we spend it. We are not victims of the clock ticking, right? We can make some productive choices around how we manage our time. So use the energy of decrease as a practical tool of evaluating where your time, your money, and your energy is going to. Maybe there's other categories that apply to you. Work with those too. Catalog where they're going, right? Where are you spending, right? Where are you spending your money, time, and energy? And what is that thing you wrote down on the piece of paper? The number one thing. That's the number one thing. Cross off on your list everything that is not helping you achieve that in April. What comes in May comes in May. New energy, new flow. It's okay. But focus now on decreasing where you're spending too much time, money, and energy, where it is not essential. I always encourage, when we talk about this hexagram, that we look at wasteful uses of time. Now, doing things that are nourishment activities, right? That put energy back in, that put vitality back in. You do those, okay, because they're part of our mental health, our physical well-being, our life experience, being happy. But there are lots of things we all do that waste time for no other reason than pandering to this idea that I just need to, decompress after the day. There are lots of productive ways we can decompress from stress and from work and from the things that are sitting around us. We don't have to waste the time. We can invest that time and decompress in ways that are productive. Okay. I will leave that with you to work through. What does that mean for you? Where are the time wasters? Those might be people, right? Those might be groups of friends. What is it for you where your time goes into things that are not part of that thing that's on the piece of paper this month? This month is all about tightening the belt, okay, which is not always about money. And yes, you might find, this April, the bank feels a little low, a little bit of stress about that. Just know that usually in a time of decrease, when money's leaving the account, assuming you've approved it to leave, that it usually is going into investing in the future. It should be. And when we work with this hexagram, we make the sacrifice now for the future benefit. Whether that's sacrifice the time and the energy and the money now. Okay, what are we doing now? What are we investing in for a return in the future? If we are just spending the money, time, and energy with no return down the line, well, then you know what that is all about. And you can make a choice how you want to handle that in your life. Okay, so we have an action-packed month. Why? Because we have 4 changing lines. So that means that we can sort of date each of the lines, okay, across the month, because we've set the time period as a month. I say sort of because it's a guideline. I've experienced some of the monthlies or the weeklies where the lines like all hammer in at the same time, or there is a clear chink, ka-chink, ka-chink, okay, as they click in across the time period. So I'm saying use it as an experiment. Does this work for you? Does this apply to you, that these things kick in with this timing? Right. So roughly every 6 days, another one of these lines clicks over. So that's why it's an intense month, because there is stuff happening every 6 days. So let's have a look at these changing lines. So we have the lines in position 2, 3, 5, and 6. Position 2. Let's start there. This line says, blessings come, right, in recognizing that service is not self-sacrifice. In other words, when we are of service, we are sacrificing our time and our energy. When we give to other people, whatever is your path to service, right, at this time, when you give of yourself and your energy to other people and are in service, you are making a sacrifice. You're sacrificing your time when you could be doing something else. You're sacrificing your energy and your care when you could be applying that somewhere else. It comes as a sacrifice, but not a depreciating sacrifice. All right. So it's not about, as we work up until the 6th of April, this line, roughly, our focus and thoughts are going to be tuned into where we serve, okay, which is a decrease, right? We are decreasing our time and energy in one place for making a bigger impact somewhere else. But we're making sure that we do it not at the expense of ourselves. In other words, we increase others and we are decreased. It's an interesting idea. When we serve, what comes back? How do you feel when you serve? But serve from the right place. Do you feel good? Does it bring energy? Does it bring connection? What does it bring? If you are staying up late at work every single day and working weekends because you're now being of service, that ultimately becomes a self-sacrifice where you are being decreased and someone else is being increased. So an interesting path of development where we are being asked to pay attention to where we are in service versus in unnecessary, depreciating self-sacrifice. And so as we start off, this is the development that comes in to bring us some awareness. And I'm a huge advocate of being of service, of having in your life, whether it's your time, it's your money, whatever it is, of tithing your time and energy, of giving and being of service. It has been for me the most amazing, incredible adventure of growing and of developing and understanding of other people. And I highly, highly advocate that everyone finds their own way to do that, but not at the expense, right, of being depreciated to do it. Okay, that is not what service is about. Service should embolden us and lift us up and bring us energy and bring us all these wonderful things. And we do them because of the service, not because we want to feel that way. But eventually it happens naturally. So even if it feels artificial to start with, just keep with it. Okay. All right, that's in line 2. In line 3, this changing line is very interesting. It says there is potentially a triangle happening here. And when there's a triangle, what will be decreased? 1 will be taken out of the equation, so we're back to 2. If you're on your own, 1 will be added, so you're back to 2. So there's a balancing out of energy that takes place with this line, all right, up until around about the 12th. And we see in this energy, it could be an individual, right? It could be literally 3 of you. It could be 3 parties working together, 3 partners working together, 3 companies working together, whatever it might be. But where you are on your own, a helper, partner will come. And when you are in a triangle, 1 of the 3 will be removed because 3 doesn't make an intimate relationship. And that means whether we're working on a one-on-one relationship or a friendship or a business situation, this is what the line is saying, that working productively with another requires the 2. And when we have the 3, where we have a love triangle, we have got unending problems. Just keeps spinning around. And so part of decreasing this month is keeping it simple, going back to 2 if you were 3, and going from 1 to 2. If you're on your own, help comes to bring you that blessing. All right, then we have line 5, and line 5 is increase in blessings to you that cannot be stopped. No omen can override the blessings on the door that opens. So it's quite interesting with a hexagram where it talks about decrease, that there's blessings and an upwelling. And I think that, as we get to the top of a hexagram and we're working with the senior lines of that upper part of the hexagram, we start maturing and start developing and really mastering what that hexagram brings us. And so I would assume that we get these blessings because we have made decreases. We have been focused. We have recognized what we are here to do. We have answered that question, what is the number one thing? That's the number one thing. And we've been true to that. And we understand what we are here to do. And because we are so laser focused, the blessings come to just give us a huge boost. And that is changing line 5. In changing line 6, blessings are there too, right? As we are increased, right? Line 6, we receive increases, we receive blessings. But as long as we are not getting them at the expense of someone else being decreased. Okay. A switcheroo from where we were in position 2, which was talking about ourselves and the self-deprivation, of making unnecessary sacrifices for the other who's increased. Now the role swaps. Line 6 says we have a responsibility. When we work with people, we care for people, we have relationships, we have family, that if we receive blessings, everyone receives blessings. So this line says, give and help others as we receive blessings, find ways of bringing others in and giving and expanding and sharing that energy with other people. Don't let others be decreased. So let's not switch the roles where others are working hard to help us be increased and they stay in a position of decrease. We reward those who have helped us get where we need to get to. And perhaps looking at your team and where some rewards are necessary would be a wonderful idea of working with that line. So lots of energy moving through those changing lines this month. That leads to our second hexagram, our outcome hexagram, our path to the victory this month. Hexagram 63, after completion. This is the hexagram of finishing the finishing. Part of our energy, it's really interesting because here's decrease. It's almost like we're withdrawing our energy from those things that are not essential. And in hexagram 63, they are closed. So there are endings. Yes, there are endings, not just maybe endings of associations, of relationships, of phases, but walking away from things that are closed and complete, because when we honor this hexagram and we work with it fully, we end well. We complete the process we have already set about to complete. We don't change tack, we don't change strategy, we don't second guess ourselves. This is something that literally is the last bit of closure. All right. We are crossing a river and we are a few meters from the riverbank, about to finish this journey of difficult crossing, of a challenge of completing. We don't change our minds. All we're here to do is finish what we already decided we would finish. So our commitment to completion this month is really, really critical. So that's 2 phrases for us this month that we can work with as our strategy. The number one thing, that's the number one thing, and therefore everything that is not part of that just can be parked. Number 2, success is commitment to completion. That is what we have to focus on this month. That is our path to victory. I'm sure by now you already know what this completion process is. What are you wrapping up? What is already finishing? It just needs to be finished. And do that well. Be impeccable in how you close off this phase, because what that does is it closes off the energy, it releases you, and it opens up all your energy for whatever is on the dashboard for next month. So let's do that well. There's been lots of hexagrams over the last few weeks. Hexagram 18, multiple times. The small tames with sorting out all the details. We've got decrease. We've got closure. So work with this energy. There's definitely something that's going on here. We are closing off a cycle and releasing our energy. So let us give it all our focus this month as we do it impeccably. If this was valuable to you, as always, a like, thumbs up really, really helps me. And I appreciate you being here and being part of our subscribing followers. If you're not, please do hit that subscribe button and the bell so that you get the episodes straight into your app. And the same with the podcasts, hit the follow button if you like podcasts as much as I do. And of course, I look forward to seeing you very, very soon in our first full overview for April. So enjoy and I'll see you soon.